Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tradesman Experience. This is the podcast built by tradesmen for tradesmen. My name is Josh, and the talent, Mr. Nate Newton. Nate, how are you, sir?
Who are you?
What is
I
happening?
seem to have forgot who you are.
God, it's like
been a
looking
while.
into a mirror, but it's like concave.
Okay. Fat jokes right out of the gate. Damn, that was quick.
How's my dog?
Oh, she's in here fucking stinking the place up somewhere.
Yep.
Oh, she's guarding the door.
Gotcha.
Typical Kanye behavior, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's living her best life, man. We bought a new house out there in Johnson Lane. Big, beautiful backyard for her to romp around and chase squirrels and do all the dog type stuff, you know. It was like 100 degrees out the other day, and she's out back just sunbathing because I keep the house at like 68 because I'm a fat fuck. So I need a cold dwelling. And I think she gets cold and she goes out. Dude, I couldn't touch her. She was so hot because she's jet black. And I'm like
soaking it up.
Then she comes back in, cools off. Like, rough life she has, you know.
Oh man. Yeah. She's the Duchess.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because we're looking at getting another dog, you know, for companionship for her. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, she's so possessive of me that I don't know how. I'm like, we're gonna need to get a large male. If we get another Kane, like, it'll have to be 120, 140 pound male in order to make it work, you know. But she is very well trained, and you know, we don't take large breed ownership lightly, you know.
Like some people.
Some people, I'm like, that dog weighs more than you and has a worse attitude than you do. Like, you're gonna get somebody killed.
Yeah. Now, how does her and the cat get along?
The cat, they interact every once in a while. They'll like smell each other, but dude, Jem couldn't give a fuck unless we're giving the cat attention. And then she's like, what the fuck about me? Like, I'm here.
She is so she's so forward with her love.
That she is. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everybody that comes over here that knows her, like the crew fucking loves her. You know, during a Monday morning meeting, she just cruises around, loves up on everybody. And, you know, it is kind of when I get like either delivery drivers or clients come in, you know, she rushes the door. That's her job. She's supposed to let me know. But every once in a while, you hear that door open and she's barking and somebody goes, oh, fuck. And the door slams closed again. She's friendly. She just likes to let you know she's there.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like she looks unfriendly.
Yeah.
I mean, she is the sweetest dog, but she
looks like she's going to eat your soul.
She does, man.
Those piercing stoic eyes of hers.
Dude, that's what it is. And it even took me a while to really get comfortable but once she lets you in, like
well, because she doesn't wag her tail or anything.
No,
like she'll wag her tail with me, and that's about it. But you know, people come in and she's just staring at you. You know, like she can't. It's an unreadable dog. You have no idea what her intentions are.
Absolutely. You just think that she's looking for a split second of an exposed jugular.
Right. So she can lick it.
Stuck in your chin. Oh, she's such a good dog. Whenever I make it back out there, I can't wait to wrestle with her.
Yeah, right.
That's such a good dog. But man, one of you and I were kind of talking about just like business and stuff, obviously, before we get on here. And one of the things that we talked about in the boot camp here recently was systems and operations. And you and I were talking about systems and operations. And I thought, man, let's just fucking dive into this because there's a couple like big key points that I want to just loft up on the table first. And one is you will rise to the goal, but you will always fall to the system. So the systems are a really good identifier or measurement of the standard of your company.
I think that's a critical point right there. Like your systems are based off of your standards. And once you have systems in place, you won't understand how you run your business without them. And there's stuff that, you know, like, I mean, we're once again revamping the entire business, you know, due to some stuff that we'll talk about at a later date. But You know, there's some stuff going on internally that we have to revamp
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things, and there's some stuff that's going completely out the window. And as I'm trying to develop all this stuff, you know, sitting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I realize that my starting point is my standard. I can reverse engineer from whatever the standard is. And so then I go down this rabbit hole of generating new standards. I'm talking to my crew.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finding out, you know, what it takes to achieve certain standards, what different aspects of the company need to be different standards than others. And we're kind of working back off of that. And that's given me a shitload of clarity,
Mm-hmm.
a ton of clarity. And
No, I'm glad you brought that up because the interpretation of standard is a problem that I see in every company.
Mhm.
And immediately people treat it as a misinterpretation of the standard in their company. They don't do it like I do it. They don't do it as good as I do it. They didn't understand what I wanted done. And when you look at it and go, look, we have a minimum standard here. Okay. First of all, how have you defined that standard? What does that mean? And second of all, the systems should be there to support the standard.
Mhm.
So did you follow the systems? What systems? Okay, so it's not an interpretation problem. It's a structure problem
Mhm.
because you're giving people, you're not even giving them the expectation of the result. You're not defining the standard. You're just telling them that I need this job done. And then they have free range to do it, which this is where the dichotomy kicks in, right? Because you and I always talk about like don't micromanage how they do it,
Mhm.
but they have to have systems so they know how to do it the way as defined by the company.
Mhm. Well, I mean, I'm to the point now where like Becca is a system for me. Like Becca has come in and taken over all of this shit that I was neglecting. Either I wasn't doing it well or I wasn't fucking doing it at all. You know, and so understanding how Becca operates, she has become a system for me. That I know I put an input into it and I get an
Mhm.
output out of it. And it's that simple, you know. Well, a huge one that we're dealing with right now is pre-construction meetings. So bid the job, get awarded the job, sign a contract. As soon as that contract is signed, we're having a pre-construction meeting on site. We're going to get our superintendent involved, we're going to get our fabricator involved, and we're going to get our installer involved. I have a full checklist of shit that the guys need to do while they're in that meeting.
Mhm.
We need to verify finished floors, wall pack outs. We need to verify field measurements, make sure everything is where it was supposed to be before we ever start fabricating anything.
Clarify and verify.
Exactly. I mean, coordination with with other trades, coordination with the general contractor. You know, that way, all three of my leadership plus my people involved are all in the same meeting. They all see the site. They see what's going on. That makes execution that much easier. And that we know what the standards are. If it's ornamental, it's a different standard. If it's structural, it's a different standard. If it's heavy equipment repair, it's a different standard. Sometimes and you were talking about how Kevin
Mhm.
was talking about on Art Junkies. Sometimes you just got to weld it and get in the fucking ground,
That's it.
you know? And dude, that's heavy equipment repair all day.
Mhm.
Fucking just get it welded, fix it. You know, we don't need beautiful fucking welds on this thing. We just need it to work.
Mhm.
So, like that understanding of the standard, but understanding the absolute necessity of who's involved in those systems
Mhm.
is fucking huge. You have to lay out who needs to be a part of that system. Because I mean, we've lacked that department here for a long time. And we're starting to build teams now where we're going to have 2 field crews and then a shop crew. What?
I just feel like humming Amazing Grace and putting
Yeah,
my
right.
fucking hand in the air because this is also one of those things where I'm like, thank God. Like
Yeah.
operationally, and I know, and I'm being dramatic about it, but the realization is it's a big move when you start structuring teams.
Mhm.
because you guys are, I mean, this year you've acquired the trucks,
Mhm.
right? So now every truck has to have a system,
Yeah.
inventory system,
Mhm.
maintenance system, cleanliness system,
Leadership system.
leadership system, loading and unloading system.
Mhm.
How you wrap the fucking leads is a system.
Yep.
How you wrap and put extension cords and tools away is a system.
Oh, dude, we actually Danny fucking our shop steward, Danny, he fucking created a trailer system. He has spots in the yard for each and every trailer, and every day when people come back with the trailers, they get offloaded, parked in their individual parking spots, and ready for use the next day. Because I tell you what, people are a hell of a lot more motivated to offload a truck when it means them going home, as opposed to them offloading and reloading a truck in the morning when they don't really want to be there.
Mhm.
Not to say that our crew doesn't want to be here, but you know how mornings go. Like,
Yep.
nobody's in a fucking hurry to do a goddamn thing.
And we all know how the end of a long day goes.
Yeah.
You get there and you're like, fuck, I'll just do this in the morning. And then you don't show up 20 minutes earlier like you had planned or
Mhm.
thought you would. And now you're scrambling and now all the systems are fucked and
Yeah.
you're behind.
Or somebody else needs that trailer the next day, and now it's their
Oh,
job
God.
to offload your shit.
That's one of those things. I show up to a shop early to get a trailer and
Mhm.
it's full from yesterday.
Yep.
I'm gonna be a little bitch about it. You know, I'm not happy.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like, especially when you're starting out, you know, you've got a small amount of equipment, small amount of crews, and then you move up to 10 employees and 4 trailers.
Mhm.
It's something you wouldn't think needs to be systematized, but it sure as fuck
Mhm.
does, man. It really fucking does. It has to be dealt with. Otherwise, if you just leave it to people's devices, this is where infighting starts happening.
Mhm.
Well, you motherfuckers didn't offload the trailer. I didn't know I needed to. I didn't know you needed it. Okay, well, now we have a system in place that holds you accountable for how you delivered that trailer
Mhm.
that evening.
To define a system, it's a repeatable process that solves a problem and creates a result.
Mhm.
That's what a system is. So talking about the trailer, which now I wish I could see the parking lot because to give a little bit of context to that, the guys would literally park the fucking trailers wherever,
That wherever they stopped, and it's like,
wherever there were fucking trailers everywhere.
right,
It was
right,
crazy to me, but
yeah, we've got 4 trailers,
Mhm.
like, and they all get used almost daily. You know, other than Gooseneck, that one,
Mhm.
I'm not even sure if that thing's necessarily legal or not, but we use it, so
That's a big ass
it
trailer.
is a big fucking trailer.
It fucking is.
Yeah.
But the the idea of that system is, and I'm going to phrase it this way: how can you systemize your standard,
Mhm.
right? And I think when you're looking at solving problems and you're looking at creating a repeatable process, it's not about giving people the option to not think through something,
Mhm.
but it's giving them a structure and a direction and a guideline of, hey, this is the process that we follow to generate this result, and this is how, and we generate this result every time.
Mhm.
So it doesn't matter if it's, you know, Zach, John, or Danny that takes one of the trucks and one of the trailers. When it comes back systematically, it gets treated the same. The trailer
Mhm.
gets parked, the truck gets unloaded, everything gets wrapped up. Danny's shop, and Danny's brilliant fabricator,
Mhm.
and you know, he works to keep a meticulous shop, and things are in a specific place. Well, when you get to the end of the day and you walk over and you hang that level back up on the wall, that is a system.
Mhm.
It's a repeatable process that generates a result.
Dude, and Danny will crawl up your fucking ass about it too, you know? I mean, his big thing is safety glasses in the shop.
Mhm.
And he's fucking called me out on it plenty of times. I walk out there to go talk to somebody about something. He's like, "Hey, where's your fucking safety glasses?" So now we have a files folder that's right next to the door that enters into the shop. There's 6 pairs of safety glasses hung up on that file folder. It's right in your face.
Yep.
That was Danny's doing. Like, "Hey,
That's a system.
put the fucking safety glasses on."
Mhm.
So as you're opening the door, you're staring right at this line of safety glasses. You have no excuse for not having them on.
Just look away.
Yeah, right.
Walk out there with something in your eye. What is
Right, right.
happening? I remember I was in the shop with your guys one day and we were working and they were doing some repair on the back of a vehicle. Don't remember the details, but regardless, the the client was also in there and Spud was grinding underneath this vehicle. So I walked over and I handed the client a pair of safety glasses.
Right.
He's standing in the shop, no safety glasses on.
It's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Exactly. So I just walked over and I was like, here.
Mm-hmm.
It's all I said.
Right.
And he kind of looked at me and was like, okay. And just fucking, put them on. It was because but again, that what that is that's a standard, right? The safety glasses in the shop is a standard. The rack of safety glasses by the door is a system. And that's it. The systems have to support the standard.
Right. Yeah. And knowing what those standards are is, that, like I said, dude, just revamping this whole thing again. And I'm taking a completely different approach this time. And the situation we're in has granted me to do that. And, that's another thing too, like finding the silver linings in the shit that goes sideways. But just, having written standards for everything. So we have a whole, Becca just completely revamped our entire safety program. So you want to know what the standards are? Well, look through that safety program. That sets the standard, and Becca printed all these things out. Every guy has a safety manual for the business. And it's like, it's your responsibility to read it. But if you're not abiding by what's in there, I'm going to get up your ass about it. Oh, well, I didn't know. Well, did you read the fucking book? No. Well, you were told to read the book. So this is accountability. This is on you. But the standards of the usability of the trailers, the standards of material storage, the standards of product tracking, all of those, I'm building standards for each one of those things. And then I'm building systems off of those standards. And it's a lot easier than it was when I was just trying to create a system out of fucking thin air, right? You're basically reverse engineering.
Yeah. And that's what I like about the approach now, right? Is again, being a repeatable process that solves a problem and generates a result. What you have to identify what that result is and reverse engineer. If you're only creating a system to, how do I want to phrase this? To mitigate a symptom. If you're only creating a system to mitigate a symptom, you're not going to get a result.
No.
And you're not going to get the one that you want. And that's being, not that that's being reactive to the fact of like, okay, well, fucking from now on, everybody parks here. Okay, well, that's a mitigating system, and it's like, wait a minute, because when we look at systems, they have to be, and I know the parking one is that was a conversation that Zach and I had. That's why I used it, but it's like, it's got to be efficient, it's got to be effective, and it's got to be easy. It's got to be easy to use, easy to access, and easy to communicate. And when we look at the parking, okay, first of all, everybody's driving the vehicle, so we know it's effective and we know it's efficient because you need to park over here. If you need to drive up and unload your truck, fine, but park over here. And it's easy, but why? Why are we parking over here? Okay, well, this is a high traffic area for steel. And I don't want your vehicle in the way because we don't need an insurance claim.
Yeah. If we have a 60-foot beam on a telehandler and it's all rough terrain out here, like we need a 60-foot right away. Get your fucking vehicle out of the way. Like right. It's that simple, But because we have clients do that. We don't have we're on agricultural property and we don't have a parking lot. Dude, the fucking places people find to park around here when they show up to the shop is just fucking staggering. I'm like,
comical.
Well, I've had people just park in the middle of the road. We have an asphalt road that runs in front of the shop, and they'll just park in the middle of it, get out with their door open. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
that's a road.
Yeah. There's a fucking 20,000-pound telehandler sitting behind you with a 60-foot beam.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah. But if you look at that, and since we're beating up how people park and drive, when there's no signage, when signs are a system, right? Customer parking, owner parking, superintendent parking, like truck parking, trailer parking.
Mhm.
And this is one of the things, and I'm glad we're talking about something this ridiculous, is because when we look at operations of a business, a lot of times we'll look at simple systems and we'll go, well, that's fucking common sense.
Right.
I don't need to, why would I have to tell someone to park over there and not in the way?
Yeah, I mean, go on the internet. Common sense isn't a fucking thing anymore.
It's and it's easy to get wrapped up in the idea of ignorant. Be like, why in the fuck do I need to have a system for people parking or have a system for people clocking in their time cards? Because if it doesn't, if you don't have a written and created and implemented system, how are you going to hold people accountable to the standard?
Mhm.
You're not. It doesn't exist. If it's not defined and clarified and created, it does not fucking exist.
Mhm.
And therefore, you become the bottleneck of the standard, and not just a bottleneck, like you're the fucking strainer. You know,
Mhm.
everything's trying to get pushed through you, and you're just straining the operation of the business to try to create these results because there's no system.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's not as complicated as people make it.
No, and you're gonna feel like you're treating people like they're fucking stupid because systems have to be all encompassing.
Mhm.
So you got to kind of build them for stupid fucking people because you're gonna have some stupid fucking person that's gonna end up engaging in the system. It needs to be usable, and so it's gonna seem demeaning,
Mhm.
But and it feels corporate, right? Like it, but there's a reason why corporations do this kind of shit because it fucking works. You have to put these things into
Mhm.
place in order to give people the clarity that these systems are there to liberate your crews to do their fucking job. If you have the standard and the system in place, people can execute. Most people want to execute.
Mhm.
They want to be able to do their job and not have you crawling up their fucking ass about every little goddamn thing they're
Mhm.
doing. The systems
Yeah.
alleviate micromanagement.
You beat me to it, and I'm glad you did because it's such an important piece to understand is the systems should not be created to involve you in everything. They should be created to remove you from most of
Mhm.
the operations. You,
Absolutely.
you again, you're 100% right on the micromanagement point. And the other thing too is you can't have both. You can't have systems in place and then micromanage people in a way that conflicts with the system because it's not what you want. It's like, well,
Yeah,
wait a minute.
it's not a system anymore.
It's not a system anymore. And the reality is now you do have something to manage though. So flipping away from micromanagement and looking at how to actually run a business and how to run operations of a company, you can't manage people. You lead people, you can incentivize people, and you can assign people to certain roles, but you cannot manage them. You can manage systems though.
Mhm.
So when we're looking at a system, and time cards is one of my favorite systems to talk about because it is so primitive. When we're talking about a system, I can manage the system. Okay, Nate, it shows here that you didn't clock in 3 times this week. Why?
Mhm.
Okay, so now we get to have a conversation. I clearly identified the issue, and then I asked a simple question. Why? Okay, so do you not understand the system? I mean, if you
Mhm.
don't understand the system, I did not do a good job training you, and that's on me.
Mhm.
So what is it about the system that you don't understand?
Right.
Oh, no, I understand it right. Okay, so if you understand the system, help me understand why you're making a decision to be negligent.
Mhm.
So now the conversation goes away from managing the system to correcting a behavior problem.
Mhm.
The it, the idea of system management also is now you have something to hold them accountable to.
Mhm.
And this is another mistake that I see. We get wrapped up in holding people accountable to only the result.
Mhm.
Well, that's not what we wanted. Okay, well, where's the accountability process that generated that result?
Mhm.
So we get wrapped up in just holding people accountable to the result. We got to hold them accountable to the standard, and we do that through the system.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you have to hold the system accountable too, because if
Mhm.
the system is not providing the result you need in the back end, okay, well, the system's not working. So you have to hold the system accountable, which is ultimately holding yourself accountable. That if the system's not if you're not getting the result, if you don't put the thing in and thing that comes out isn't what you want, well, you need to adjust that, you know?
And there are great identifiers in that. When you've got multiple people on your team that are steering away from the system consistently, there's a good chance it's a system problem.
Mm-hmm.
And you can gather your team and go, "Hey, this is what I'm seeing. What's wrong with the system?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, we have to actually like log in our password every time and then start at the main menu, and we have to navigate through the portal to get to the time card. Well, that means that the system is not effective, it's not efficient, and it's not easy to use. So it's out.
Mm-hmm.
Like it has to check those 3 boxes every time.
Right. Well, and there's an evolution that occurs too as your crews change, as your scope of work changes, uh, conditions change that you might have to adjust the system on the fly for individual circumstances. We run into that a lot, you know, we especially fuck dude, because we have systems for structural steel, right? All of that kind of goes out the window once you get on a TI project. Once you're doing a tenant improvement, that whole thing changes. So we ultimately have had to create, or I'm in the process of creating a new system for TIs. Is it structural steel? Yeah. Are the circumstances completely different? Fuck yeah, they are.
Mhm.
So understanding that the limitations of a system is critical. Understanding that it doesn't span to certain other things, that it's not necessarily as plug and play as you'd like it to be. That having that cognitive ability is fucking huge.
And that's being involved, right? That's having a finger on the pulse of the business and the team and making sure that they can give you the feedback. But you brought up a couple really good points there. One is that the systems do have to evolve. And if you have specifics, right, the exception to the rule isn't the rule.
Mhm.
But if you've got specifics, and I've been on jobs too where everything that you thought you know doesn't fucking apply here.
Mhm.
These are our systems and standards and rules. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
copy, and so you behave that way for that. So you have to kind of design and develop operating systems around that situation. But again, the exception to the rule isn't the rule. The Another part that you touched on was that the systems can't be the limiting factor.
Mhm.
And I think that's something that poor performers, low performers will actually hide behind a poor system
Mhm.
because they can blame it on the system. Well, this is how we do it. This is the process here.
Mhm.
And okay, that worked with one person in the shop, but now you have 5.
Mhm.
That system doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, it's out the window.
And so when people use systems as an excuse, again, pushing making sure it's not a limiting factor, but when they use systems as an excuse, it's like, okay, what would you do differently? Why is this system limiting you? Why is this process antiquated? Why are you choosing to do it this way instead?
Mhm.
How come you didn't say, "Hey, there's a better idea?"
Yeah. Well, and this is like such a beautiful part of your onboarding process is that you bring somebody in, you have these systems that work, you already have a 10-man crew, and you onboard somebody and they cannot keep up with any of your systems. Well, because we've seen it happen.
Mhm.
We've had it happen to us. That person's capacity to operate within your business is slim to none. Need to cut ties as soon as possible. It's not that they're a bad person. It's not that, they're stupid or something. Sometimes they are, but it's their operating brain power
Mhm.
isn't going to jive with what you have. And I mean, we have a pretty diverse group in here of people from different backgrounds, different ages, all that kind of stuff. but they all operate on kind of the same wavelength, you know, of what productivity and expectations look like.
Mhm.
And so when you throw somebody in that it's oil and water, the crew sees it right away and you see it right away. So your systems are going to help you weed out people that shouldn't be there.
Mhm.
And I think that's a beautiful part of well-developed systems is that you get to quit wasting time with shitty candidates. I'll put it that way.
You do, and it also eliminates the, well, this is how I've always done it factor,
Mhm.
right? Again, there's so much dichotomy in business and operations and teams and leadership, but we know that we don't like the this is the way that we've always done it attitude,
Mhm.
right? And we also know that best idea wins. But those can be confused as being the same thing because everybody thinks that their idea is the best.
Mhm.
And the reality is perfect the system that we have and then make it better.
Right.
Right? You get proficient in how we do it,
Mhm.
then let me know.
Yeah, and that's one of those we've seen that quite a bit where a lack of systems development leads to people standing around in the morning arguing over how it needs to be done. And is that's like the most infuriating thing to watch is a bunch of grown men are it's like another one too that we run into a lot is that even if we do have a system in place, somebody's trying to reinvent the wheel on the fly. And it's like, okay, we can have a conversation later about it, but we need to fucking do
Mhm.
what we're doing right now. There's room for improvement on everything, but fuck, dude, when people start to challenge the system mid stride,
Mhm.
and I get it, you have input, you have ideas, you have all those things. We're not going to stop every 20 fucking minutes and discuss if this is the best way to go about it.
Mhm.
Like, come to me with a fucking with an adjustment plan, have it written out, do that on your own fucking time,
Mhm.
and I will very seriously look at that.
I'm guilty of that. I am guilty of trying to improve systems on the fly. And I was on a job site a few weeks ago, and I had literally not even done one thing the one way because it was his idea. And he was
Mhm,
like, "Hey, we're gonna do it this way." And I caught myself and
mhm.
I actually said out loud, I said, "I'm trying to fucking change this and I haven't even done one yet." So I said, I'll stop talking. I'll just do this." So I had enough awareness to catch myself, but that's one of my pitfalls is I look at systems and I immediately want to start figuring out how to improve them, and I
Mhm,
haven't even done it yet. And that's why I try to emphasize the fact that fucking get proficient at the way that we do it and then help us improve it.
mhm. Yeah.
We
Yeah,
also
it's difficult when you're in the shit, especially
yeah.
if it's 100 fucking degrees outside, you're dehydrated, you drank too much last night, and the last thing you wanna do is anything that's
Mhm.
manually laborsome. And, not like in the pipeline game, dude, like, you wanna talk about where a place where systems make or break your fucking career because each one of us was responsible for our own trucks, right? We're getting paid piecework. So you need to move as fast as possible, as high quality as possible, and without any hiccups. Dude, Matt and I were fucking dialed, dialed. But then the stupid thing we did is that we tried to take the systems from the pipeline industry and incorporate it into a structural steel business, and it failed fucking miserably. But dude, it worked so well because you're
Right.
doing something different, you fucking idiot.
Mhm.
You know, that's me yelling at my old self. But
Square peg, round hole.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's interesting and to expound on that a little bit is, when you're in an industry like that, right? You guys are hundreds of feet in a pipe, hundreds of feet below ground. You don't get to walk down the steps, go to your truck, jump in Home Depot or the vendor and go pick up something and then come back and then fuck around and get your water. And it's like, well, now I'm going to take a break. And then you get to go like, there's no option
Mhm.
when you're in a industry like that.
if I had to run to Home Depot, it cost me whatever I spent at Home Depot plus $1,500. I know because I did the fucking math out on it every fucking time I did it. I was not on the trigger underground welding. So it makes me so reluctant to leave a job site to go grab something because that's just ingrained in me. Like, it's going to cost me $1,500, like, but it also makes you very, very resourceful. You absolutely need it, but let's find a way to do something else without, at least get as much done as we can so we can swing by Home Depot on our way home and grab it for the next day, however that works. But there's a fucking system right there, right? Stay on site for as long as you possibly fucking can and grab that shit on your way home. I fucking hate it when the guys call me and they're like, hey, I gotta go run to Home Depot. I'm like, fucking why? Well, we forgot this. Like, so dude, Zach's been developing this system for he's got these pages printed out and it's daily, it's jobs. So it encompasses whatever job you're doing, but it's got on there materials, tooling, hardware, touch-up paint, primer. It's got this whole checklist of shit that, because it's so easy to forget about an aspect of what you're doing when you're heading out to a job, right? You're like, fuck, I forgot that we got to touch up primer, these weld connections. Well, as you're going through that list of all the shit, oh, fuck, that's right. We need primer. We got to, that it's staring you in the face. You go, do we need primer? Oh, fuck, yeah, we do need primer. Like that system of just having a fucking piece of paper printed off for what you're going to need for the job with all of these items just glaring at you. Do you know how much that's reduced people having to run back to the fucking shop for shit? I mean, because a lot of the times we're an hour away from the shop. So if we're up in Reno, if we're up at Tahoe, like you're not just running to the shop real quick. That's a 3 to 4 hour process,
And for you guys, if somebody leaves a job site Thursday evening, they're not back till Monday morning.
Right.
You're not going to remember a goddamn thing that you need on that job over a 3-day weekend.
And that's why the trucks get parked here every Thursday afternoon or evening. And the guys do their truck inventories on Monday morning meetings. Make sure you have enough wire, enough gas, enough whatever the fuck it is. But they inventory their trucks on Monday morning. It's like, dude, if you guys call me because you don't have an item that I know that I purchased to go to that truck, I am going to come unfucking glued on you. Like, why is it not on the fucking truck?
Yep.
And so
hey, we need to pick up some cut wheels. I'm going to murder you.
Yeah, there's 5,000 of them at the shop. Yeah. But I mean, like the cables for the MIG machines, I understand if something gets broken or run over, shit like that happens. Yep. I understand that. But if you're in Reno, you're going to go buy a new one. It's not, oh, I'm going to run back to the shop to go grab that fucking thing, But it's all these little, just even that list, like the waste that system alleviates is fucking huge, because we saw a problem with it. There was every day somebody had to run back somewhere or go spend money on something because they forgot something. The next thing I know, I got fucking 4,000 feet of fucking extension cord. When the fuck am I ever going to need 4,000 feet of extension cord? Oh, well, I grabbed 100 foot. I thought that's all I was going to need, but I need 300 feet. Well, now all the trucks are decked out with 400 foot of lead, hose, cord, and then 100-foot ground. If you guys can't reach what you need to with that, we need to adjust what we're doing, because those machines won't push more than
right. Well, that, outside of an emergency service, if you can't reach, then we did some really poor project planning. Right. That's poor project management. There's how many things went wrong in a row for a truck to show up and be short on lead.
Yeah. I mean, if you do a pre-construction meeting, staging is huge.
Yeah.
Where are we going to stage materials? Where are we going to stage trucks? How are we going to stay out of the way of other people? Where are we going to stage equipment? What are our access paths for equipment? All of this is constructability. That is the point of that system. The pre-construction system is to make sure that we address all those issues before we dispatch a crew of 4 people. we can't get the truck close enough. So I got 4 dudes standing there with their dicks in their fucking hands doing God knows what. Not making me any money. I know that much.
Right. And it's interesting too, because thinking about the truck staging, when we would roll up to a job site, for the most part, we could roll up, unload, and then move the truck out of the way, because we had job boxes and we had toolboxes and we had equipment, and we could stage our equipment out of the way. Your guys' trucks are your tools.
Yeah, they have to be accessible. Dude, and so
Right.
we even set up the trucks to where we have quick releases for the welders. It's fucking 4 bolts and the welder comes off.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes like at State Street, they're in a parking garage and they were trenching around the outside of the building. John, in his infinite wisdom, fucking pulled the machine off of the truck, set the machine inside the garage. Nobody's going to run off with a 1,500-pound machine, and pulled the truck out. He was able to operate for 4 days while they were trenching around the fucking building. How fucking brilliant is that?
And you know how many people would have complicated that and come back to the shop and said, "Hey, man, we're not going to be able to get in there all week because they're trenching around the building, and we can't pull the truck in."
It's an excuse.
Yes.
And everybody knows those motherfuckers that are looking for a fucking excuse, right?
And he said, "You take my truck, but leave my welder."
Yeah, right. I got shit to do, motherfucker.
Getting it done.
Yeah. So it's I mean, and that's something you have to look for in your leadership as well. You have to look at people that know how to maintain a standard, how to assist a system, and how to execute a system, and not use it as a scapegoat, but then uses it to their ability to execute things with their team. And like that's when I'm looking for leadership in people, that is something I am looking for. Their ability to adhere to and basically improve systems to leverage themselves with their team.
Dude, this is why I like your team so much. To me, that right there would be a problem solving question I would ask in an interview. That scenario. Hey, we've got a rig in a parking garage. They've got a trench around the building and we've got to move out. What do you do? It's like, because I know it's a simple thing, but I have been in so many situations where people choose the path of least resistance, meaning they don't even look for a solution. They just react and go, "Oh, we can't be in here."
Problem.
And they fucking drive off. Problem. And then they leave and then they're like, "Okay, we need to do something else." So the fact that you're right, looking for that problem solving mindset in your leadership, and also knowing it, and this is the other point that you made that I think is really good, is your leadership team and your team in general, but your leadership has to know that they're empowered to bend the system when they need to. There's no fucking protocol that says pull the welder off the truck when you can't get the truck in there.
Well, that's what I was saying about assisting the system.
Yeah.
That he is making executive decisions to assist the system that he's using. Like, yeah, dude, call the fucking audible. Fucking send it, dude.
And don't call me for permission.
Yeah.
Fucking handle it.
I showed up and the truck was parked out on the street without a welder on it. And we're in downtown Reno. And I'm like, fuck. Some bunch of tweakers ran out for their fucking welder. And then I go in there and, John's in there, just the crew's in there just burning away,
That would be a sight when you pull up.
His ears must have been burning. He's calling me right
now. No, man, it's such a great example of again, leadership and systems in the standard coming together and understanding the result. The result is to get the job done at what standard and cost. Well, this is the audible. This is what we had to do. And it's just fucking brilliant. And again, most people would just pick the option to give up.
Yeah. Oh, dude, sorry, boss, can't work today. They're doing things. Oh, there's another trade working around you? Find that very difficult to believe. Fucks.
In what world?
Yeah, right.
Jesus Christ.
Oh no, they just shut everybody else down while you go in there.
Yeah. I mean, there's some trades that think that way, but it's a little bit bananas. Yeah, it's when you're looking at your system and looking at your team and looking at your company, you have to make sure that you are equipping them to succeed and that you are empowering them to make decisions that need to be made, and not excusing the system, but again, assisting it, like you said,
Mhm.
of doing that, and being able to have the foresight and the confidence to make that decision on the fly. That really, to me, is also a testament of not only the systems but the culture
Mhm.
and the leadership, and of being able to, again, just handle it. Like, what's our plan in the morning? And that was something else I was wanting you to touch on, was the you're going through kind of daily planning with your leadership team now.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
so it's a new system that I've developed. So every morning, I'm sorry, John, Zach, Danny, every day they give me a critical path plan. I don't need to know the full details of what you're doing. I need to know what your critical path is. What is your focus for the day? I'm not talking about what your crew is going to be doing. Where are you focused? And it's really helping them stay on target. Because every morning they give me a list of the things that their focus is on. I don't care how you're doing it.
Mhm.
I just need to know what you are doing. And critical path alleviates a lot of the contingencies that happen within all this, right? Something to be brought up to them. Well, we're not working on that right now. We're working on this. And so it gives them, not only them, but it gives their crews an understanding of what they're supposed to be achieving that day. So
Right.
it helps push that nuance shit to the side.
The other the other thing it creates is you're in tune with what's going on, right? In as far as scheduling.
Mhm.
But what you said about it's good for them and kind of helping them stay on target. It's because they're having to think ahead,
Mhm.
right? They're having to think 1 day, 2 day, 3 days ahead. It's
Mhm.
like, where do we need to be today? And being in a project management role, you kind of have an idea of what that sequence looks like.
Mhm.
So now you do have updates as to where we are on the timeline,
Mhm.
on target, and again, you can make adjustments. And we know that shit happens. It's never perfect 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day.
We
But
were
if you
lucky it
have,
was perfect 4 hours in a day.
if we're lucky,
Yeah.
but if you have that conversation, and John's like, dude, he's like, we ran into some issues today, but we got it figured out. So
Mhm.
I know tomorrow and the next day we're going to be able to make up for what we did, because we've got a very efficient way of that we're doing this now.
Right. And so one cool thing about this that happened by accident, I didn't intentionally do this, but it's a huge benefit of this system, is that those guys, they text me in a group message their critical path plan for the day. So what's cool is the rest of the leadership knows exactly what the other crews are doing. So if we get shut down on another project, we know where people need help. We know where we can grab help from. We know that contingency is now manageable.
Mm,
Everybody's all the leadership is on the same page. We all know what everybody's doing. So if we show up to a site and fucking they double booked to where we got excavators in the way, we're not able to access our site. Okay, cool. Well, we know that John's over there at State Street and he's got railing that we can work on. So without me even really having to get involved, they're already solving their own contingency problem. I didn't have to do shit.
right. And now you're getting fed information of a solution. Hey,
Mhm.
we ran into this. We don't have access today.
Mhm.
I spoke with John. He could use the extra hands. We're going to go help him put railing in.
Mhm.
That's the plan, unless you want to send us somewhere else.
Yep.
Way different fucking conversation going, hey, boss, we can't get in today. Where do you want us to do?
Right.
Or my least favorite one of all, and this is where I would almost murder a technician, when they would walk in and go, yeah, we weren't able to do that today. They wouldn't call.
They came
They
back to
wouldn't.
the shop.
They just come back to the shop, and it's
Oh my
like,
god, that would boil my fucking
you
blood.
oh, I'm like,
Hold
uh,
on. Hold on. Gerbil came off the wheel. I gotta shake him back on there real quick.
yeah. So that was definitely early on in my very, very immature leadership, years and management years. I had techs that would do that. They would just walk in, client wasn't home. What are you doing here? So yeah, that kind of shit just fucking
Yeah.
flips me out immediately. But yeah, it does. It empowers them with knowledge
Mhm.
so they can make better strategic decisions.
Yep.
Because you can change it and be like, hey, one of you guys can go, but I need the other two back here. Danny's in a pinch and we've got to lay out these beams. Okay, great. Now you can call that change. Everybody moves and does what they need to do. But
Right. It's a seamless transition at that point.
yes, yes. And what I like again at the end of the day, I like that your vernacular for it and your vocabulary is you have critical path meetings. For me, it was debriefs. We
Mhm.
had we had daily debriefs. And with my service guys, we had a debrief after every single call that they went on.
Mm.
Every single call. And you'd better call and debrief before you leave the fucking driveway.
Right. Well, so we have our using job trade, we have our
Mhm.
daily logs. And so I
Right,
and
right.
we've structured out what we need out of those daily logs, and the guys are doing a great job with it. So that's my debrief right there. Every
Mhm,
morning when I get in here at 6 o'clock in the morning, first thing I do is pull up daily logs, see, and then I compare it to my critical path text that I got,
mhm.
and find out, if there was a discrepancy, I knew about it throughout the day. Somebody called me. So it's it's such a good way to keep your finger on the pulse of your business.
Mhm.
I know where everybody's at all times. I know what's going on. Good. I mean, I don't have to deal with the little minute shit, but I know. I'm sorry. I don't know where everybody's at. I know where my crews are.
Mhm.
You know
Right.
who's on those crews. It could change, but
Yep.
we're trying to adjust that as well right now. But you know, sometimes you got to bounce people around. It's just
Absolutely.
part of the beast.
But, even the team, creating a team, per truck, right? 2 or 3 guys per truck. Again, that is a systematic way to run the company. And when you do need, not if, but when you do need to change and flip somebody around, it disrupts that system a little bit. Everybody knows you forget a tool on the truck that is yours that you always use or whatnot. But for the most part, it gives them a foundation. It gives them stability in operation because systematically they report to this vehicle every day, or they report to this shop or this toolbox every day. So now they have that routine. When everybody shows up and it's like spin the pinwheel to find out who we're going to be with today, because we're in a constant non-systematic reactive state, everybody's always like, it's like
Mhm.
50 first dates with your
Yeah.
team. So creating that structure and creating those teams gives them really good foundation for them to operate well.
Well, and having the text in writing, having the daily logs in writing, like that's a pretty heavy level of accountability.
Mhm.
Like, no, you said you were going to do this. Why does your daily log say something completely different? And if we had a conversation and we knew that we weren't going to be able to achieve what the critical path was, if critical path changed, and that's kind of where I draw the line with the guys, like, hey, operate the way know you need to operate, but if your critical path changes, I need to be involved.
Mhm.
Not even really involved. I just need to know about it.
I need to be informed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Well, hey man, it was good to see you.
yeah,
I
yeah,
know you've got a lot of shit going on. I've got a lot of shit going on.
yeah. Hey,
We
Douglas Tigers JV football is 3-0 right now.
Oh,
There's
fuck
only been
yeah.
one touchdown scored on us this year, and that was last night.
Good defense.
Dude, our defense is fucking people up, dude. Like, I've never seen a bunch of rich white kids want to bang so bad in my life. Hey,
Good for them, man. That's
yeah.
that's exciting.
It's good to see kids be violent for a change.
Yeah, and have fun doing it.
Yeah, right.
We're not looting. We're on a football field.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh shit. So, all right, I got to jump off here. I know
Yeah.
you got shit to do, and so do I.
Yep.
So, I guess you're still on Instagram, right? I
Yeah.
haven't talked to you in so long.
Right. Yeah. Nate Newton 87.
Well, you can find him at Nate Newton 87. I am on Instagram at The Tradesman Experience. Email is thetradesmanexperience@gmail.com. Website's thetradesmanexperience.com. And the YouTube channel is The Tradesman Experience. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Get out there, get shit done. Be proud to be a tradesman. See you.